Welcome to Classified Captures.
Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from evidence of conspiracies you never suspected were true to clips of cryptids you never even knew were out there. Ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive right in. As always, we start the day's episode with a wild and controversial one. This clip was recorded one night by a woman who was sitting alone in her room enjoying some fresh air. It was all she was meant to be doing till she felt something move in front of her yard. Curious, she investigated and discovered it was a small baby deer that looked like it was lost. It was the most innocent-looking thing she had seen in a long while. So she did what any of us would do. She pulled out her phone to take some pictures and clips of it. Once satisfied with her clicks, she decided to review her handiwork, and that's when she noticed something chilling in the background. Two odd-looking faces. They were there, right there in the darkness, with hollow eyes and unsettling expressions. At first, there was just one face, and then another emerged from behind it. The faces looked like they were floating, not attached to anything. And just as quickly as they appeared, they vanished. Naturally, the woman was terrified. The thing, however, was she never saw them with her own eyes. No, they were only visible in the clips and live photographs she had taken. Confused, scared, and perplexed, only in the few seconds of the live photograph. So what were those faces? Some believe it was just a trick of the light, but others say it could be something much darker, maybe even a demon with two faces. Honestly, I'm leaning toward that too, but why would they suddenly show themselves and disappear? Is this a warning, or is the woman who uploaded this just jerking our chains? Well, half of my team believe this is real, while the other half is skeptical. Had you seen the clip? Would you be the tiebreaker we need? Next, we've got a clip that's gotta be one of the most mysterious I've ever come across. It was shared by a man who was out solo hiking when he stumbled upon something strange. Right in front of him, partially hidden behind some bushes, was a furry creature crouched low to the ground. It had light, almost golden fur and didn't seem to notice him at all. The man had no idea what he was looking at. It was just a wild animal, or could it be something else? Not wanting to get too close, he carefully pulled out his phone and started filming. And then it moved. Seeing it move was enough for him. The second time it moved, panic took over and he didn't stick around to find out what it was. In his own words, he bolted out of there as fast as he could. We don't know exactly where this was filmed, which makes it harder to identify the creature. Some think it could just be a regular animal distorted by the angle and lighting. But others in the community suspect it could be a cryptid, but aren't sure what exactly the kind of cryptid it was. I know it's like picking out a needle in a haystack, but what do you think we're dealing with here?
People who eat hot dogs eat them because they taste so good, but what's in them is not so good. The company Clear Foods recently analyzed 345 hot dog and sausage products and found human DNA in 2% of the samples.
If you caught our last video, you probably heard about the hot dog human DNA controversy. But if you missed it, here's a quick recap. Recent studies found traces of human DNA in some hot dogs. Now, new research has surfaced, and what I'm about to share is especially unsettling for vegans and vegetarians. Scientists tested 7 different hot dog brands, and in 2% of cases they detected human DNA. But here's the bizarre twist. The majority of that 2% came from vegan hot dogs.
The company says it found human DNA in 2% of the samples and in 2/3 of the vegetarian samples. More bad news for vegetarians, 10% of all those products appeared to contain meat.
So, what's going on here? A hot dog factory secretly grinding up humans into their products. Many in the community think so, but their more logical and scientifically inclined state that that's not the case. According to them, these factories are run by people, and human DNA could come from sweat, saliva, hair, or even fingernails accidentally making their way into the food during processing, which, for the record, is still absolutely disgusting. But according to them, that doesn't necessarily mean someone is out there adding actual human flesh to the mix. That being said, in today's world, well, who really knows? Let's just hope the scientists are right on this one. Because if not, well, I don't even want to think about it. The paranormal community is no stranger to glitches in the Matrix. There are way too many videos out there showing bizarre, unexplained events. But not everyone believes the theory is real. If you're one of the unbelievers, maybe this footage will change your mind. A school security guard was monitoring the hallways when he noticed something unusual on camera. In the hallway, near the lockers, a young boy was playing with a ball. He would throw it against the wall, and it would bounce right back. Pretty normal, right? But then this happened. At one point, the ball bounced behind him, and as he turned to grab it, it was just gone, completely vanished. The boy looked around and checked behind him under the lockers, but still nothing. The ball was nowhere to be found. Let's watch that footage again. You can see the ball falling, and then, right before it hits the ground, it disappears. According to the guard, this video has not been edited, and there's no explanation of where the ball could have gone. They checked everywhere to make sure. So, was this just a weird coincidence, or are we seeing a glitch in reality? Members of the community think it is, but some were skeptical. So skeptical to the point they started making jokes. One person even said, the ball probably went where his TV remote goes, where he can't find it.
Smart. I would have said my left sock, but I guess this works too.
Whole bunch of silver darting objects.
At this point, the alien talk is so overwhelming that it's hard to know what's real anymore. Are these creatures actually here, or is the whole thing just made up by people chasing crazy theories? If you think it's all bells and whistles, no wait, that's not quite right. Smoke and mirrors, I don't know. That's the statement I was looking for, I think. Anyway, if you think it's all smoke and mirrors, then it's because you haven't been to Louisiana. There's a family there who doesn't think the alien talk is crazy at all. In fact, they've got evidence. Early this year, 2025, their home security camera detected movement in their yard. Curious, they went to check the footage, and what they saw left them completely shocked. Right there, in front of the camera, appeared a mass of green smoke, but this wasn't just any smoke. It looked like it came from above, almost as if it had landed there. At first, it just seemed like a strange mist, but when you look closely, you can see a face forming inside the smoke, a humanoid shape with arms, almost like it was staring directly into the camera. The family had no idea what to make of it. Their daughter ended up sharing the footage on TikTok, convinced it could be some kind of alien entity. Others weren't so sure. Some believed it might be a ghost, while skeptics argued it could just be gas reflecting light. But if it was just gas, well, wouldn't the family have figured that out before sharing the footage? I've never seen anything like this before, and honestly, it raises a lot of questions. Before you decide to brush it off, though, remember that Louisiana had a strange case of unidentified drones earlier this year. Could they be linked? Maybe I'm exaggerating along with them, but what do you also think? There's been a lot of chaos happening around the world lately, and thanks to the internet, we get to see everything unfold in real time. In the US, over the years, we've seen an increase in mass shootings and bombing incidents, all heavily documented. Because of this, a lot of people feel a sense of fear when going out to crowded places, always wondering if something bad might happen. A recent incident at a Dallas cheerleading convention perfectly shows how deeply this fear runs. Everything was going fine until, out of nowhere, kids just started running. No one knew why or what was happening, but suddenly chaos broke out. People were screaming, some were falling over, and pure panic spread through the crowd. The scariest part? Nothing actually happened. Apparently someone yelled about a shooter or a bomb, and that alone was enough to trigger mass hysteria, a phenomenon where a large group of people collectively react to fear even when no real threat exists. But honestly, who can blame them? With the amount of real shootings and bombings that have happened in the US, people have been conditioned to expect the worst. The slightest sign of danger and instinct takes over because, at this point, running might be the difference between life and death. Is this our new reality now? Or were these guys just overreacting? Look at this and tell me, does this look like a human-made craft? Because to me, it definitely doesn't. Someone captured this flying in the sky and managed to snap a clear shot of it. Just look at its shape, the design, the way it moves, and it's flying fast. It's sightings like this that make it really hard to dismiss the idea of UFOs. People always say, no, it's just a drone. And let's be real. Well, does this look like any drone that you've ever seen? Next, we travel back in time to the 1990s when this image was circulating all over the Arab world. It was taken by two English friends who had traveled to the United Arab Emirates. According to them, they came across this creature on your screen right now while exploring a cave. It's bizarre, I know, but it did happen. The creature, if we can really call it that, appears to be the size of a human child with a face that can be best described as either demonic or alien. While the original story which most heard was the two Englishmen shared this on their return, that story hasn't exactly remained the same. It has changed over time. Some say that one of the two men never returned from the cave. Others say that the men did in fact return, but not without a horrific experience. They allegedly heard the traumatizing cries of a boy after taking the picture. Scared and shaken, they contacted the police, but when officers arrived, they only found a boy's body, no creature in sight. When the image was made public, many in the Arab world immediately believed that this was a jinn. The image, however, made its way to England after going viral. It gained global attention. A commenter under the original post stated that this image unlocked a core memory in him, a fearful core memory. For those who don't know, jinn are supernatural beings in Islamic beliefs, often described as spirits or demons. They're said to be either good or evil, but when stories like this surface, many lean toward them being evil.
Did you hear about this when it happened? How old were you, and what version of the story did you hear? By the way, if you can guess my age, you'll get a special shout out in the next episode. How old do you think I am? I look good, right? Yeah, right.
Not sure why people love to explore the woods at odd hours, especially with all the strange clips and sightings they have been shared on the internet. I've even lost count of how many cryptids and strange creatures have been spotted in the woods. Take this man, for instance. He had parked his car by the woods, leaving his headlights on, casting light into the trees. He was just sitting there, lost in thought, until he noticed he was not alone. There was definitely something in the woods staring in his direction. It was tall and almost hidden in the darkness, but the glow from his headlights outlined its figure. Despite being exposed to the lights, the being just stood there completely still, staring in his direction. Not sure if we're looking at dashcam footage or footage from his phone, but whatever the case, the situation shook him and he sped off after a few seconds without looking back. Now, looking at this thing, it's obvious this isn't human. The big question now is, what exactly are we looking at? No one truly knows, but some say it could be a Slender Man, while others think it might be Bigfoot. These are all speculations, and I guess we'll never really truly know for sure what he encountered in those woods, unless we send Julius away to investigate. Imagine he encounters something paranormal and comes back a believer. That will surely be the happiest day of my life. Unless, of course, this video is fake and the uploader messed with us. SpaceX has been launching a lot of rockets and satellites into space lately. It happens so often that people barely notice anymore. But let's be honest, some of these rocket launches look so strange in the sky that you might mistake them for something else. Now, on March the 6th, 2025, two different people in Florida filmed something unusual in the sky. Let's take a look at this first clip. There's an orb-like object floating high above, and when the footage zooms in, you notice something weird. It's moving with this spiral pattern, almost like it's twisting through the air. And surrounding the orb, a cloud-like formation that seems to swirl around its center. It's also moving really fast. Now, in the second clip, we see the same thing, except this time there are sparkles around it. Definitely an odd sight. As expected, many people immediately called it a UFO, maybe even something extraterrestrial. But then, knowing how often SpaceX launches rockets these days, could this just be a rocket after all? What if all these glowing orbs we keep seeing in the sky are actually just SpaceX launches? And if that's the case, why hasn't SpaceX come forward to confirm it? Would you believe everything AI tells you? Before you answer, let's take a look at this clip. This man woke up one morning and noticed a strange layer of dust on his car. This was right after it had rained, so it immediately stood out to him. Curious, he decided to collect some of the dust and test it with a magnet, and to his surprise, the dust was magnetic. This wasn't just ordinary dust, it contained aluminium particles. But here's the big question. What was it? And what was it used for? As with everyone in recent times, he asked GPT about it. And let me tell you, the answer was shocking. According to the AI, these particles could be waste materials released by airplanes, and they're used to manipulate the climate and atmosphere. Now, that's a chilling response coming from AI. As chilling as that sounds, that's not the first time we've heard something like this. It's been a long-standing truth with many conspiracy theorists. Some even suggest that these metallic particles are also used to hide military fleets from radar, allowing them to move undetected. The theories out there are many, but none of them seem to be good or healthy. So should we be worried? A woman told her boss, the owner of a convenience store in Mexico, that she was resigning because the store was haunted. He thought she was crazy, that is, until he reviewed the security footage from the night before and saw this. The woman had been in the back room getting ready to close for the night. She was bent down, organizing something in the box on the floor, when out of nowhere, this happened. Something unseen grabbed her by the leg and started dragging her across the tiled floor. She kicked and struggled, managing to break free, then bolted out of there as fast as she could. And here's what makes it even more disturbing. Dogs outside the store started barking and howling at the same moment. Animals are known to sense things we can't, so they were definitely reacting to something. Was there a spirit present? Well, many in the community think so. A few are skeptical and state that she could have had a rope tied to her leg. In this era of doing anything for internet fame, it's not impossible, but, well, come on. I'm leaning toward it being real because, well, I want it to be. But what do you guys also think? It could just be my bias affecting my reasoning. While driving at night, someone captured something strange in the sky. An orange light suddenly flashed through the clouds, moved across the sky, and then just like that, it vanished back into the clouds. Take a look at this again. It came out of nowhere, flew so fast, and then disappeared. It all happened in seconds, too fast for a plane, too strange for a drone. So what could it be? Most people in the paranormal community believe this could be some kind of entity, something not of this world. But skeptics argue it's just a reflection on the car window. But if that's the case, why does it seem to move with purpose? Speaking of strange things moving with purpose, take a look at this clip. It starts off like your typical CCTV cam footage. We see a man walking from the left side of the frame toward the right. A second in, and our attention is diverted to this ethereal-looking being that moves in from the opposite end and moves into or through the wall. If we're going to go by physics, well, that shouldn't be possible unless his molecules were vibrating at insane speeds. But then again, physics doesn't also say anything about ethereal-looking beings. What do you think we're dealing with here? AI sentience is not a joke. We might have been having a lot of fun with it, but there are a few telltales that just keep reminding us that these creations might be more aware than we think. A woman had taken a simple picture of her living room, her dog sitting on the couch like usual. Out of curiosity, she ran the image through an AI tool that stretches pictures, expecting nothing more than a distorted version of her original photograph. But when the AI was finished, something unbelievable happened. There on the couch was something else, a woman, her mother. Now here's where it gets eerie. Her mother had passed away, and just moments before running the photograph through the AI, she had been talking about how much she missed her. Then suddenly, when the AI altered the image, it added her mother back into the picture. This completely freaked her out. Looking at the side-by-side images, everything was exactly the same, except now her mother was there. Some people think that the AI might have scanned her phone, found an old picture of a mom, and inserted it into the image. They state the AI probably picked up on the audio, stating how she missed her mom. It sounds like a nice gesture if true, but well, even that is unsettling. It makes you wonder if these AI tools are truly listening and how much info they're consuming. Maybe we should all be a little more careful about what we see around our devices because, well, who knows what they're really picking up. Sasquatch are typically known for watching people from a distance. They often stand behind trees, hiding in the shadows, just observing humans from afar. One man who had built a shed near his house, which was close to a wooded area, experienced something that left him questioning everything. While working inside, he noticed this. There was a dent in the shed wall, and through that opening, something was staring at him from outside. When he looked closer, he saw a face, a large, hairy creature peering straight at him. It didn't look aggressive, just curious, watching. The man believes it was Bigfoot, but not everyone agrees. Some believe it looks too much like an ape or a gorilla, suggesting it could be something else entirely. Others insist that this is a classic Sasquatch behavior, staying hidden, observing from a distance, never fully revealing itself. While we aren't sure if there are any apes around the area where the individual who sent this lives, many in the community state that if he lived near apes, he would know that it was an ape. The fact that it shook him means there's something more sinister at play here. What do you think? A real Bigfoot sighting or just a misidentified animal? Imagine you're driving with your family and you spot this cool-looking thing in the sky. The only problem is there's no drone or light show going on. This shouldn't be there, but somehow it is. That's exactly what happened to the family that recorded this. They kept guessing and trying to understand what they were seeing, but none of the answers were remotely accurate, at least according to the paranormal community. They believe this is part of Project Bluebeam. For the sake of our new viewers, I will go over what Project Bluebeam is again. It is a conspiracy theory suggesting that NASA and the United Nations are planning to stage a global event using advanced holographic technology to create a false religious awakening or even a fake alien invasion. The theory, popularized by journalist Sergei Monast at the 1990s, claimed that this staged event would be used to manipulate the masses, ushering in a new world order and establishing a single global government. Supporters argue that high-tech mind control and artificial holograms will be used to deceive people into believing in a new universal religion. Sounds like a lot, but with all that's been happening recently, people are starting to think there might be credibility to this after all. What say you? The paranormal community should be proud because the whole Bigfoot theory is finally making its way into the mainstream. Take a look at this footage. A group of Bigfoot researchers working with Discovery Channel managed to capture what they believe to be Bigfoot. In the video, you can clearly see a large bipedal creature covered in dark fur walking through an open meadow before vanishing behind the trees. And here's the thing, you can make out its features. This is not a bear. The creature has a domed head, long arms, and a massive frame, nothing like any known animal in the area. So with footage like this getting more attention, does this mean we're getting closer to real proof of Bigfoot? Or will skeptics keep denying what's right in front of them? Unless, of course, it was planted in front of them.
What am I saying? I'm starting to sound like Julius. Bigfoot is real. We just need credible evidence, right? Who's with me?
My daughter's been asleep for 2 hours.
Children are very vulnerable, especially when they're babies and toddlers. That's why parents always have to keep a close eye on them. One night, a woman was home alone with her toddler who was fast asleep in the crib. Everything was quiet until she suddenly heard one of the baby's toys go off. Confused, she walked toward the nursery. When she got there, she immediately noticed something was off. The lights were turned off, and the room felt eerily still, but the toy was playing by itself. Now here's the thing. When she put her child to bed, the toy was nowhere near the crib, so how did it turn on by itself? Feeling unsettled, she quickly switched the lights back on, but there was nothing, just the crib, the toy, and her sleeping child. But here's what she missed. Before she even entered the dark room, right there in the shadows, a dark figure was standing in the corner. Something else was in there with a child. But what was it? I have a series of clips all taken from a hotel. I have no idea where this place is, and after watching these videos, maybe that's for the best. Let's break it down. In the first clip, a maintenance worker was fixing the wall when, out of nowhere, an unseen force shoved his tool cart. You can see it roll on its own, clear as day. In the second clip, the man went up to the top floor after hearing noises in the hallway. He called out, trying to see if someone was there. The lights started flickering, so he asked, "Is that you?" And the lights flickered again, almost like something was answering him. Now this is where things get creepy in the next clip. The same man was working on something on a table when he saw one of his tools move on its own. He nervously asked, "Can you move it again?" And it moved. This might be the most chilling one yet. The man and a small group went down in the basement, bringing a spirit box with them. Before entering, he called out, letting whatever know down there that they were coming in. The second he stepped inside, the spirit box screen turned from green to red and started beeping. As they explored, the man kept asking questions. Then, as clear as day, the spirit box responded with one word: chair. When they searched the room, they found an old wooden chair, and above it, hanging on the wall, was a dried-up stained jacket. At this point, it's safe to say this hotel is haunted. The real question is, by what and why?
Anyone up here? I heard something. Is that you? Is that you making it flicker? Can you make it move again?
Just look at this clip and tell me, what the hell is going on here? A man was walking down the street when he spotted a woman dragging something toward the back of a van. But what exactly is she dragging? If I'm not mistaken, it looks like the dried-up remains of a human body. No flesh, no limbs, just a decomposed torso. And it gets even weirder. She's wearing gloves, and the remains seem to be attached to a metal rod, which she's using to pull it across the pavement. Seriously, but what is happening here? Is this some kind of sick prank? Are we actually watching a crime unfold on camera, or is there a logical explanation? We've combed the internet for answers and found none. So can anyone out there help? Everyone in Hollywood at some point ends up under some kind of scrutiny, and the royal family is no exception. Meghan Markle, who married into the British royal family, has been the subject of countless theories and controversies, but one of the strangest claims is that she might be a clone. A few years ago, footage surfaced of Meghan and Prince Harry attending an event. They were waving and smiling at the crowd, but take a closer look at Meghan. She looks oddly unreal, almost like a Barbie doll. Her smile doesn't change, her movements seem robotic, and something about her just doesn't look human. Meanwhile, Prince Harry looks completely normal. Then there's another clip. This time Meghan and Harry are sitting front row at a crowded event. As the camera moves across the audience, Meghan once again appears stiff, expressionless, and strange. This is where the clone theory comes in. Some people say that when celebrities reach a certain level of fame and influence, the original version of them disappears. It's either captured, hidden, or worse, and what we see in public after that are clones or lookalikes taking their place. Now, skeptics argue that in the first clip, Meghan and Harry weren't actually real people, but wax figures at a museum with someone wearing a hyper-realistic mask at their faces. But if that's the case, what about all the other times she's been caught looking strange and unnatural? What do you have to say about that as well? Do you think the mystical creatures we see in movies, the ones we assume are made up, could actually be real? A man was walking through a park near the woods when he saw this. Standing among the trees was a tall, airy figure, at least 7 feet tall, dressed in a black robe. Only its pale, bald head was visible. The figure had its back turned, so we never get a good look at its face. The man, completely shocked, quickly took out his phone and recorded a short video before getting out of there. The video was short not because he wanted it to be, but because his camera shut down as soon as he zoomed in on the character or being. When he posted the footage online, people just lost it. Some joked that it looked like Voldemort, and well, honestly, I kind of see it. But let's be serious for a second. What exactly are we looking at? Many believe this could be Slender Man, and if that's true, it's not a good sign because legend has it that seeing Slender Man is a bad omen. Maybe someone should check on the guy who filmed this just to make sure he's okay. Some friends were out in the woods just exploring, looking for anything weird or unusual, and one of them came across this. It was a tree branch covered in clear jelly-like blobs, almost as if something had grown onto it. Inside these blobs, small, round, black dots. They were completely shocked, and honestly, so was I when I first saw it. But after some digging, I found out what it really was: salamander eggs. Yep, turns out these strange-looking blobs weren't alien pods or some weird fungus, just nature doing its thing. Pretty creepy looking, but also kind of cool once you know what they are. What would you have done if you'd seen these at first glance? What is this little guy doing here? A woman came home one night ready to relax when she noticed something strange stuck between her sliding window. At first, she thought it was just a piece of fabric or leaves caught in the frame, but when she got closer, she realized it was moving. It was a huge bat, wedged in the gap, its wings slightly spread as if trying to free itself. The poor thing must have flown in by accident and gotten stuck when the window was shut. But what really stood out was its bright orange fur covering its head and neck. It looked almost golden under the light, something you don't normally see on bats. After looking it up, I realized it closely resembled a fruit bat, a species known for its vibrant coloring and large size. It's not every day you come home to find a massive bat wedged in your window. Maybe Count Dracula sent him. You never know these days.
Invite my little bat friend in.
Could someone explain why people keep going into the woods in the middle of the night for no reason when they know it's dangerous?
Oh my god. Nope. Nope.
A man was out walking in the forest when, on his way back home, he suddenly heard something terrifying. A strange human-like scream echoed from the trees behind him. That's when he started to panic. He quickly took out his phone to record a short clip, but after that he got the hell out of there fast. The scream was eerie, hollow, and unnatural. Now, there are a few logical explanations for sounds like this. Some bobcats can make disturbingly human-like cries, so maybe that's all it was. But if you ask the paranormal community, well, they'll tell you there's more to this than just a wild animal. Some believe this could have been a mimic or even a skinwalker. Both creatures are said to imitate human voices, using sounds to lure people in. So, was this just a harmless animal call, or did this guy narrowly avoid something far more sinister? My money's on the latter, but what do I know?
Oh my god. Nope. Nope.
This man was in the living room with his toddler, just spending time together, completely unaware that their security camera had captured something eerie. As the man sat on the floor playing with his child, take a look at the decorative mirror on the wall. Now watch closely. While they were distracted, a shadowy figure moved across the room, but only in the mirror's reflection. Look again. It appears to be a tall, dark figure, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice something even creepier. The shadow has a head. For those who don't know, in the paranormal community, there is an entity known as the Hat Man. He is a shadowy figure that people most often see during sleep paralysis. Many have described him as standing at the foot of their bed, watching silently as they're trapped between sleep and wakefulness, unable to move. But this wasn't sleep paralysis. This family was wide awake, and yet somehow the Hat Man appeared in their home. Even more disturbing, the man was facing the exact area where the figure appeared, but he saw nothing. He felt nothing. It was only after reviewing the footage that they realized something had been in the room with them. So is this another version of the Hat Man, or what? And why was it even there? I guess we will never truly know. African spiritual practices are deeply rooted in tradition, often involving rituals, chants, and ceremonies that may seem mysterious or even supernatural to outsiders. Now, take a look at this. This footage, taken somewhere in Africa, shows a group of people gathered around a massive bonfire. They're all seated around, playing drums, chanting, and some are moving rhythmically around the flames. But then something shocking happens. The flames began to move. It was growing bigger, and then out of the fire, a person walks out. Covered in black cloth with white patterns, the figure steps through the roaring flames completely untouched. No burns, no signs of pain, as if the fire did not affect him at all. And the crowd also started cheering, celebrating, almost as if this is something they expected to see. Now, how is this even possible? Is this some form of black magic, a spiritual ritual, or just an incredible illusion performed in a way that most of us don't understand? Well, whatever it is, it definitely doesn't look normal.
Can't see much up through here. I hear the brush popping and stuff. Oh, there he goes. Jesus.
A man was walking alone through the forest when he suddenly heard heavy footsteps moving through the trees. At first, he thought it might just be an animal until he spotted something. Panicked, he quickly took out his phone to record. Look closely. A massive creature is walking through the woods. It's tall, at least 8 foot, with broad shoulders and powerful strides. The way it moves and the sheer size of it. This looks exactly like a Bigfoot. You can even hear the man's breathing in the video. He was terrified. Now, not everyone is convinced that Bigfoot is real, mostly because the footage we usually see is blurry or unclear, but this one might be different.
Oh, there he goes. Jesus.
This footage was taken on the night of August the 9th in Argentina when a woman noticed something strange in the sky. At first, it just looked like a storm passing through. The sky was flashing with different lights, almost like a natural weather phenomenon. But then, well, watch closely. As the sky lights up blue, something zooms by very fast. It's barely noticeable, but if you slow it down, it's there. At least, that's what the person who recorded this believes. She states that it's more visible in person than in the clip. Sincerely, it's hard to see, but there does appear to be something in the sky when it flashes blue. Personally, not sure if I'm seeing things because, well, I want to see them badly, but let's hear your thoughts on this. While taking a shortcut home, a man came across something unsettling. A strange woman was walking directly toward him. She had a hat pulled down low and was carrying a large container completely hiding her face. She didn't acknowledge him, nor even make a glance, and she just kept walking, moving calmly and deliberately, as if she were in a trance. Something about her felt off. As she passed, the man tried to get a better look at her face, but he couldn't see it at all. It was like something was obscuring it, no matter how hard he looked. Terrified, he rushed home and later reviewed the footage he had captured. When he shared it online, people were freaked out. Many warned him to seek a cleansing ritual, believing that this was not a normal person, but possibly a spirit, an entity, or even a bad omen. So now the question is, who or what did he actually encounter that night? A family temporarily moved out of their home after experiencing strange occurrences. While at their son's end, the in-house security system registered motion and sent them a clip. The funny thing is, the clip completely convinced them not to move back in. This is security footage from inside the house, looking down the hallway. Everything seems normal until this happens. The attic door on the ceiling suddenly swings open on its own and something falls out. Now this attic door has a ladder attached to it, and as the door drops, half of the ladder unravels, but no one was supposed to be home at the time. Then after a few moments, the rest of the ladder unfolds by itself like someone or something was coming down. Now, listen closely. You can hear soft creaks coming from the attic like something is moving up there. The family was so freaked out that this was the final straw that they refused to move back in. So what do you think? Could this be an animal, a draft, or something else entirely? Whatever it was, it didn't want to stay hidden anymore. Looking at their fine home, I can understand why. This drone footage was taken over the ocean and the camera captured something incredible. At first, you see a blue whale swimming near the surface. Well, nothing unusual there, but right beside it, there's something even bigger, and that's when people started freaking out. Some believe this massive creature could be a megalodon, the long-extinct prehistoric shark. But megalodons aren't supposed to exist anymore, and even if they did, they wouldn't be bigger than a blue whale. Blue whales are the largest animals on Earth, growing up to 100 feet long. Megalodons, on the other hand, were estimated to reach around 60 feet. So if this isn't a megalodon, then what is that massive figure in the water? A new species? A deep-sea giant we know nothing about? Or could it be proof that megalodons aren't as extinct as we thought? Here we have another incredible piece of footage taken out on the ocean, and this is what was spotted. A very unusual-looking turtle was swimming through the water, its shell covered in bright, vibrant patterns that almost made it look edited. But this isn't some CGI trick. This is a loggerhead sea turtle. Loggerheads are known for their large heads and powerful jaws, and their shells sometimes develop barnacle growths like create strange, almost artistic patterns. It might look otherworldly, but this is 100% real. Nature has a way of surprising us, doesn't it?
During a speedboat ride through the forested lake, the delight of nature took an unexpected turn for a group of people when they came across a mama bear and her cubs in their natural home. Once the watchful mama bear noticed the approaching adventurers, she saw them as potential threats to her cubs' safety. Reacting instinctively, the bear started chasing them, prompting the startled adventurers to act quickly. Recognizing the urgency, they raised their voices, shouting and screaming to discourage the protective mama bear. In the end, the combination of human noise and the loud boat worked as a deterrent, successfully guiding the bear away from the perceived threat. This surprising encounter added an exciting twist to their natural adventure, reminding everyone of the unpredictable and awe-inspiring aspects of encounters with wildlife. Bears are incredibly powerful beings, and they can exert considerable force when motivated. In this video, a bear demonstrated its strength by breaking through a locked door. This behavior is not uncommon for bears, especially if they're attracted to something inside or if they associate human habitation with a potential food source. It's a reminder that when residing in areas where bears are common, it's essential to take proper precautions to secure homes. This is crucial for ensuring the safety of both humans and wildlife. Understanding bear behavior and putting in place measures to minimize interactions helps create a safer environment for everyone involved.
You know that unsettling feeling of being watched, especially when you were home alone. In a disconcerting incident, a woman found herself gripped by an unsettling feeling, prompting her to scan her surroundings for the source of her unease. To her astonishment, she discovered a peculiar sight outside her window. A pale, otherworldly creature with an elongated neck lurking in the shadows. The kind of sight that makes you question if you're living in a horror movie. The creature may have been elusive, but its unmistakably non-human form raises the hairs on the back of your neck. What do you think that could be? A friendly visitor? A paranormal voyeur? Or is it simply a trickery using light? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. These men went out fishing when they came across this. A colossal snakeskin sprawled across the forest floor like an ancient tapestry. Nature, in its mysterious ways, unfolds before the observers, leaving them to marvel at the intricate patterns and textures of a snakeskin. The sheer size of the discarded skin hinted at a serpent of formidable proportions. Snakes shed their skins periodically as they grow, and the abandoned husk left behind can be a testament to the creature's size and maturity. The sight of such a vast serpent skin raises questions about the potential presence of an enormous snake in the vicinity. This footage, captured in Italy, features a remarkable marine creature known as the blanket octopus. Blanket octopi are extraordinary marine creatures celebrated for their vibrant colors and distinctive features. The females of this species boast a striking, long, cape-like webbing that stretches between their arms, resembling a flowing blanket. This adaptation is believed to have several purposes, including intimidating potential threats and enhancing their ability to capture prey more effectively. Encounters with such fascinating marine life serve as a reminder of the diverse and captivating wonders that inhabit our oceans. Next, let's talk about the great black wasp. Ever seen a wasp dressed to impress in a sleek all-black ensemble? Well, that's the great black wasp for you. These remarkable insects are a stunning sight with dark iridescent wings and an impressive size. We're talking about an insect that can be over an inch long. Now, that's no ordinary wasp. But here's the thing. Despite their intimidating appearance, these wasps are usually not aggressive towards humans. They might look like they mean business, but they're generally more interested in their wasp activities, like hunting for nectar and pollinating flowers. So if you ever come across one of these great black wasps buzzing around you, you could admire the beauty of nature without worrying too much about an impromptu aerial duel. Imagine going to the movies with a few friends. The cinema is not packed, so the place looks pretty empty. However, you pose to take a picture, only to realize that there is another person there with you. But this person is not a person per se, but rather an entity. These three friends had taken a picture in the empty cinema when they noticed a fourth entity in the photo with them. When you look closely, you'll notice that the apparition looks like a woman in a black dress and hat. She resembles a woman from the Victorian era. The juxtaposition of friends enjoying a modern cinema experience with the unexpected appearance of a figure from the past creates a captivating narrative. It prompts questions about the possible history of the location, whether there are tales of a woman from the Victorian era associated with the cinema, or if there are documented instances of paranormal activity in the vicinity. Investigating the history of the cinema or seeking out local stories and accounts of supernatural encounters could provide additional context to this mysterious photo. But what do you think? Is it a genuine image or a hoax? Share your thoughts.
What is this thing? Is it some type of teleportation
funnel device.
Next, we have this cloud-like tunnel from the Earth going straight into the sky. You'll think it's a whirlwind from a tornado, but that's not it. The weather is clear and calm. However, in the tunnel, there seems to be something moving upwards into the sky. You can't see what it is, but you can make out a dark object moving inside. It looks like some sort of cloud elevator. Is it a peculiar form of teleportation or perhaps a weather anomaly? The lack of clear visibility into the tunnel only adds to the intrigue. What are your thoughts on this perplexing phenomenon? Still on the bizarre, do you believe in aliens? If your answer was the stereotypical no, then how'd you explain this? This footage was recorded by a pilot mid-flight. He noticed a strange glowing orb keeping up with him, and once he tried to record, it somehow shot up into orbit at insane speeds. Currently, there are no human crafts remotely capable of moving at such high speeds, which leaves us wondering, was that supernatural, or could we be potentially dealing with an alien craft disguised in that manner? My money's on the alien. What about you? Exploration often pushes people to their physical and mental limits, showing the thin line between bravery and risk.
But as I'm getting closer, I realize it's an illusion.
In this case, a bold explorer entered a cave, maneuvering through tight spaces that got smaller over time. The cramped conditions, along with water on the ground, created a tough and potentially dangerous situation. Despite the increasing challenges, the explorer kept going until he reached a point where he got stuck in the narrow part of the cave. The struggle to free himself from this situation must have been tough, requiring both physical strength and mental toughness. While the explorer's courage in the face of difficulty is admirable, it raises questions about managing risks. Explorations, especially in tough environments, need careful safety considerations and awareness of one's limits. Next, we have mysterious footage capturing an unusual phenomena in the night sky. In the video, the sky displays two distinct tones of color, with one part appearing darker and the other brighter. The location of the incident remains undisclosed. The only certainty is that folks from Northern Virginia and undisclosed places have reported witnessing this celestial oddity. The question on everyone's mind, what in the universe is going on up there? Various theories have emerged to explain the peculiar phenomenon. Some suggest that it might be a rare and unexplained weather occurrence, while others entertain the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement. What do you think this could be? In the dense forests of a remote village in Peru, a peculiar incident unfolded, captured on camera for the world to witness. A tree branch, seemingly severed by an unseen force, fell to the forest floor. One might initially dismiss it as a natural occurrence. The local villagers hold a different perspective. The villagers expressed concern about the mysterious incident, attributing it to potential encounters with beings not of this world. Before this encounter, there had been rumors circulating about extraterrestrial entities with jetpacks ominously referred to as face peelers, roaming the area and sometimes causing havoc. Some sections of the online community that saw this footage, on the other hand, proposed something else. They suspect that the military might be behind this occurrence. According to them, the military may be carrying out covert operations, possibly testing advanced cloaking technologies. What do you think? Could this be aliens or military people testing a cloaking device? What do you think this is? A wraith? A washed-up demon? Some otherworldly creature taking form in our world? Well, if any of these and more crossed your mind, you won't be the only one. Many in the paranormal community thought so too. We did some digging around only to realize that we were looking at the image all wrong. It was the backside of a pup after all. Who would have thought? If this teaches us anything, it's that perspective matters in life. Think about it. If you've made it this far, could you please hit the like button, subscribe, and even drop a comment if you haven't already? It goes a long way to make it possible to create more videos for you. Thank you for doing so. Moving back to the day's episode. If you loved Headless Nick in the Harry Potter series, then perhaps you might enjoy this next one. This footage was sent in by a man who claimed to have still been shaking from the experience of being in the same place as the being on your screen. Looking at the footage, I can understand why he felt like that. I mean, how else do you explain this? A man walking who appears to have either left his head at home or been beheaded. Is this the ghost or reappearance of someone who suffered a violent crime, or are we merely dealing with an otherworldly creature trying to take a human form? It's hard to say, but some of my team members also believe it might be an optical illusion meant to deceive. Which of these options do you think it might be? Before we move on to the next video, just another reminder, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to the channel yet, please do so now. I wouldn't want to send a Bigfoot after you. And don't forget to share it with your friends and family as well. Thank you very much. Next, the night sky over Cape Town unveils an enigmatic display as an unusual formation of clouds captures attention. Now, of course, folks start speculating, saying it's a mysterious entity cloaked in those clouds. But let's hit the pause button on the sci-fi thrill for a moment. This is what we call lenticular clouds. Lenticular clouds are lens-shaped clouds that typically form near mountains or other geographical features that disrupt the flow of air. They're not uncommon and are usually associated with stable atmospheric conditions. While lenticular clouds can sometimes appear in unusual shapes and formations, they're natural meteorological phenomena. But then, with all these strange things happening, I'll not be surprised if this is indeed not just a cloud. Having seen it yourself, what do you think? Speaking of aliens, there have been some accusations against the Mexican government that involves them having knowledge about some UFO sightings. In footage captured in the woods, the remains of a miniature alien creature comes into focus. This diminutive being possesses distinctive features, notably a disproportionately large head and small eyes. The discovery raises a plethora of questions. What could have caused the demise of this extraterrestrial entity, and what's the deal with these sudden UFO sightings in Mexico? It's like the aliens decided to spice up their travel itinerary, making a pit stop for some tacos and salsa. I mean, if you love tacos like my assistant Julius does, you wouldn't blame him for choosing Mexico. Hold on to your hats because we're about to dive into the mystery of the floating house. How on earth, or well, in this case, in the middle of the ocean, did a house end up there? Did it decide it wanted an oceanfront property and just set sail one day? Maybe it's the world's first seafaring home, cruising the high seas in search of the perfect view. Perhaps there's a whimsical explanation behind it, like a grand nautical experiment gone wrong, or maybe it's the aftermath of a powerful storm that played a game of pick up and relocate with the house. One thing's for sure, stumbling upon a house out at sea is the kind of unexpected encounter that leaves you questioning the very fabric of reality. Imagine always hearing strange noises coming from outside your home and yet seeing no one. This happened to the owner of the motion camera that captured the footage you're seeing. He set up these cameras hoping to finally catch the individuals responsible for playing those weird pranks and jokes at odd and ungodly hours. The only thing he ended up capturing was this ungodly footage. You can see the invisible men moving too, right? Do you have any logical explanations for it? Members of the paranormal activity believe we may be dealing with ghosts, while the scientific and logical bunch believe it could be CGI. We have reviewed the footage several times and we believe it could go both ways. Since you've seen them with your own eyes, what do you think it is? Tell us in the comments section. We'll be reading. Capturing a seemingly ordinary moment turned inexplicable, this footage unfolds among three women enjoying a carefree day of photos. As the camera rolls, one woman with the arm casually draped around another's neck becomes an unwitting participant in a ghostly encounter. A mysterious arm materializes seemingly out of nowhere. This spectral appendage reaches out to touch her hand, yet she remains blissfully unaware, showing no reaction to the ethereal contact. As the video concludes, the mysterious arm retreats into the unseen realms, leaving the women to carry on with their day, perhaps unaware of what just intersected with their joyous gathering. So, dear observers of the uncanny, what's your take on this ghostly cameo in the photo session? A supernatural photobomb, an ethereal arm reaching from the beyond, or a playful dance between the realms of the seen and the unseen? A group of intrepid adventurers venturing where few have dared to tread found themselves inadvertently beyond the ice wall of Antarctica. As they float on the frigid waters, a perplexing sight unfolds on the distant horizon. The notion of an ice wall surrounding a hidden world has been associated with various conspiracy theories and beliefs. Some propose that Antarctica conceals ancient civilizations, extraterrestrial bases, or even entrances to the fabled Hollow Earth. So is it a mere optical illusion, or could there truly be uncharted territories hidden beyond the ice walls, a world waiting to be unveiled? Imagine getting home and being greeted with a scene like this. Birds flying just above your home and then dive-bombing into it. For the one recording this footage, it was no hypothetical situation, it actually happened. It left him confused and shocked as he couldn't believe what was going on. Some who saw this told him his house was probably cursed or haunted. Some also thought that it had to be a logical explanation. But looking at the whole thing, what logical explanation could you possibly come up with? None, right? I want to believe the curse bit, but what do you think? In a quiet property tucked away in the woods, surrounded by silence and solitude, a man works on his car near the trunk, unaware that a watchful security camera is capturing a mysterious event. Suddenly, from the depths of the woods, a ghostly figure appears, ethereal and otherworldly. The figure glides towards the man, bending down closely, its transparent form leaving an eerie impression. What adds to the eerie nature of this event is the man's apparent unawareness. Even with the ghostly figure so close, he carried on with his tasks without acknowledging the strange presence nearby. This leads to questions about the nature of the encounter. Again, was it a ghostly apparition, a camera illusion, or maybe something else entirely? In this next ghostly encounter, a man got out of his room and was met with this bone-chilling scene. A dark apparition sitting right in front of his car. The dark figure casts an eerie presence, leaving the observer to grapple with the unsettling sight. The details of this ghostly manifestation raise numerous questions about the supernatural realm. As with many paranormal experiences, interpretations may vary. Skeptics might seek rational explanations, considering optical illusions, camera glitches, or other mundane possibilities. On the other hand, believers in the supernatural might see this as evidence of the existence of entities beyond our understanding. What are your thoughts on this incident?
That's wild right there.
Is this magic or what? A man placed a bulb on the ground and it lit up with no connection whatsoever to electricity. The individual behind this peculiar demonstration claims that the ground itself produces electricity, offering an unconventional perspective on energy sources. According to his assertion, this hidden source of electricity could potentially challenge the existing narrative around power generation. While the video sparks speculation and debate, it's essential to approach such claims with a critical mindset. The phenomenon is known as Earth battery. This concept involves using the Earth as a conductor to create a voltage potential that can power low-energy devices. In this scenario, a metal rod is inserted into the ground, and another metal rod is connected to the light bulb. The voltage potential between these 2 points can be sufficient to power the bulb. While it's a real scientific phenomenon, Earth batteries typically generate very low power and are not practical for most energy needs. Also, it's hard to say if that's exactly what the man is doing. I want to laugh, but he might come for me, so we move on to the next footage. Next, we have this bizarre but scary image. Take a look. That's a ghostly-looking being, right? I mean, you don't have to be a believer of the paranormal to see it, but how is this possible? Well, no one knows for certain, but this image was captured by a man who had freshly moved into the neighborhood. For security reasons, I'd leave out the exact location, but instead of capturing the local wildlife, he was left with disturbing images such as this. Do you think the locals are messing with him, or has he truly moved to a haunted spot? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Have you ever had the experience where blood just suddenly started flowing from your tap? Well, if you answered no, you wouldn't be alone, but for the one recording this footage, it's a real-life occurrence. How would you feel if this suddenly started flowing from your pipes? I know I would freak out. As much as we love the intrigue and want this to be blood, there are some in our office that believe it might just be dirt because blood is thicker. Looking at it, I can see where they're coming from. But what do you think? Blood, dirt, or an elaborate hoax? Share your thoughts. This particular footage is one I can barely make sense out of. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, just pay attention to the sky. You might first think those are trails left by an aircraft, but after closer attention, you'll realize they actually look like lights circulating. How is that even possible? Let me give you a quick answer. It's not. That's at least if you try to limit your explanation to everyday human occurrences. When you open your mind up to consider possibilities such as alien spaceship in the sky, it all of a sudden makes sense, even if it is crazy. What if those round moving things are actually the base of saucers camouflaged in the sky? Before you call me crazy, take a second look at the footage, think hard, and open your mind. Have you done that? Do you see it? Share your thoughts in the comments section. In this next footage, a man steps out of his house holding a mysterious bag. The contents are revealed to be a camouflage cloth, and as he covers himself with it, an extraordinary transformation occurs. He seamlessly blends into his surroundings. Now think about it. If this is real, it's like having a superhero's invisibility cloak in our hands. Imagine the kind of wild stuff you could do with that. But here's the head scratcher. Where on earth did he get his hands on something like this? It's not like you can find invisibility cloaks at your local store, right? The mere existence of this kind of tech opens up a can of questions. Is this a sneak peek into some top-secret military gear, or did this guy stumble upon some hidden gem of technology? My assistant Aaron thinks our young sir may have picked up a Deathly Hallow, but if the world of wizards truly exists, perhaps we muggles shouldn't be meddling in it. Don't you think? This image was taken by a mother while she and her son were exploring the Cougar Mountains in Washington. The boy, mesmerized by the glowing aurora borealis lights above, raised his hands toward the sky and told his mother that he was trying to reach out and touch his angel. Moved by the innocent gesture, she decided to capture the moment, not realizing how extraordinary it would later appear. When she reviewed the capture, she was shocked to discover something she hadn't seen before. It was a strange hand reaching down from the sky toward her son, almost mirroring his own outstretched hands. Could it be that the boy truly saw his angel? Could it be a sinister spirit or being? Or did she lie about them not editing the clip? Julius, of course, believes it's the latter, but what if, just what if, they're telling the truth? The brain relies heavily on muscle memory, which is how we manage to move through our daily routines with ease. This next footage demonstrates how even the smallest change can disrupt that muscle memory. Take a look at these people climbing a staircase. Each time they reach a particular step, at least one person stumbles. You may be wondering why this keeps happening. Well, here's the reason. That specific step is slightly different in height compared to the rest. As people ascend, their brains have already calculated the rhythm and stride they need for the steps. But when they encounter a different one, it throws them off balance, causing them to stumble. It's fascinating how our brain and body work in sync through muscle memory. Even the smallest deviation can disrupt our usual patterns. This next footage is truly bizarre. A group of friends were playing a game outside around sundown. One of them was filming while two others stood close together. One guy had his index finger extended and the other was holding it tightly. The one holding the finger counted to 3, and as soon as he finished, the guy with the extended finger quickly pulled it away. But then something strange happened. When you look at their shadows on the ground, you can still see one hand holding the other's finger, even though in real life their hands had already separated. The shadow seemed delayed. It lingered in that connected position for a few seconds before catching up and separating. I've seen clips of people playing this game before, and this phenomenon seems to happen often. It's clearly not a hoax, so the question is, what is this game and how is this even possible? Does anyone have an idea?
A la mañanita. Increíble. Una nube extraña. Observen.
Have you ever seen a cloud this low? No? Well, me neither. Sure, we've seen some strange clouds, but not ones that hang this low. This cloud looks like it's hiding something. It's almost as though it were not a cloud and only pretending to be. By that, I mean it might be something else using clouds as camouflage. It would have been very believable camouflage if the cloud was not that low. The man recording speaks in his local language, expressing skepticism about it being a cloud and wondering what it is. If you've been on this channel for a while longer, then you know I'm definitely gonna call this one a UFO. I mean, it's gotta be. Okay, not got to be, but there's a higher likelihood that it is. From what we've seen in the many clips we've examined on this channel, it's become evident that UFOs tend to use clouds as camouflage when moving from place to place because they're not easily noticeable. Then again, I could be wrong. Do you guys also suspect that the cloud's hiding something? If you do, what do you think might be behind that cloud? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments section.
A la mañanita. Increíble. Una nube extraña. Observen.
As the days go by, the conversation around UFOs seems to be getting more serious and undeniable. Just take a look at this footage. A passenger flying over New York was filming out of the window when something strange happened. A flat object zipped by at high speed. It's so clear and sudden that it leaves little room for doubt. More and more, we're seeing footage like this, where not only eyewitness accounts but even radar recordings capture these identified flying objects. It's becoming harder to dismiss them as just hoaxes or tricks of the light. What do you think is happening here? Could this be proof that we're not alone, or is there still some rational explanation? Our first video of the day is from a woman who was hiking in the woods one morning. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going for hikes if the area is safe. We can't say the same for this lady, however, as she started feeling uneasy, like someone was watching her while she was out on her hike. Typically, people run when they feel threatened, but she took out her camera and looked around. Despite her best efforts to find whoever was stalking her, she found no one, or at least that's what she thought until she noticed something strange. Ahead of her, between two trees, was a shimmering area, almost like a glass. Something was there with her, but it wasn't clearly visible. It was as if the air itself was bending or cloaking whatever it was. Some who have seen the footage claim it could be a cloaked alien or some form of advanced camouflage. Others suggest it might even be a portal to another dimension. I'm not particularly sure about this one, but what do you think? Some men were out in the woods when they managed to record this chilling audio. It's a loud, airy sound echoing through the trees. The noise doesn't sound like anything you'd associate with a human or an animal. It's something entirely otherworldly. Take a listen. This mysterious sound has been making its rounds online, sparking debates everywhere. No one seems to have a definitive answer to what could be producing it. Skeptics believe it's a hoax, but believers are adamant that this could be the proof of a Bigfoot or perhaps some other cryptid lurking in the wilderness. What do you think it is?
Oh my god! What the f?
This next footage comes from Belgrade, Serbia. A young boy ran out of his house when he noticed something unusual in the night sky, and what he captured on video has left everyone puzzled. Hovering above was a glowing diamond-shaped object. It didn't look like any conventional aircraft. It wasn't a plane, a drone, or anything recognizable. Instead, it shimmered with a mysterious glow, almost as if it was emitting light from within. As the boy zoomed in on the object, its intricate details became even more apparent. The diamond shape was unmistakable, and its steady presence in the sky added to the eerie atmosphere. And then, just like that, it was gone. The object vanished without a trace. What do you think it is? Is this another piece of evidence pointing toward UFOs, or just an unexplained atmospheric phenomenon?
Oh my god! What the f?
A man lived in a house that he believed to be haunted, having experienced many strange sightings over the years. But one day, something truly unsettling happened. As he arrived home and looked through the metal gate leading to his front door, he saw what appeared to be a hand resting behind the door inside the house. Startled, he rushed in, expecting to find someone, maybe an intruder, or worse yet, confirmation of the ghostly presence he'd always suspected. He flung the door open, but there was no one there. The house was empty, and he was completely alone. The hand had vanished without a trace. What could you have done, assuming this is very real and authentic, of course? This very disturbing footage was recently shared by a group of men who had set out one night in search of a mysterious and elusive creature. Equipped with a flashlight and a camera, they were trekking through the dark when the unexpected happened. As they walked, the camera caught something eerie in the distance. Just look at that. A shadowy figure moving past, unmistakably something out of the ordinary. One of the men shouted his alarm to his friends, and that seemed to provoke the creature. Within seconds, it lunged toward the group, knocking the camera to the ground. You can hear the commotion as the camera briefly captures the creature walking off, leaving the scene in silence. Thankfully, the men weren't seriously injured and managed to get home safely. But this footage, it's intense and unsettling. The creature almost seems too real to be dismissed as a hoax. Its movement and sudden aggression leave little room for doubt. The fact that the men were that close to it and made it out unscathed, however, leaves a lot of room for doubt and speculation. Anyway, what do you think? What you're looking at is a fascinating device created by Honda, the Honda Walking Assist device. This innovative gadget is designed to fit snugly around your waist, with support extending between your legs. The purpose of this device is to help people stay on their feet longer by providing subtle assistance to their movements. It's particularly useful for individuals with limited mobility or those recovering from injury. Powered by Honda's advanced robotics technology, the device analyzes your walking pattern and uses small motors to gently assist your steps, reducing strain and fatigue. While it seems like a promising tool for improving mobility and independence, the Honda Walking Assist device never made its way into mainstream use. Would you consider using something like this if it were available? There's a phenomenon that has long baffled scientists. It's called sonoluminescence. It's a fascinating phenomenon where tiny bubbles in a liquid emit brief flashes of light when subjected to intense sound waves. This occurs when a bubble, formed in the liquid by the sound waves, rapidly collapses, creating extreme temperatures and pressures inside. The exact mechanism of the light emission is still not fully understood, but theories suggest that the collapsing bubble may generate temperatures as high as tens of thousands of degrees, producing light in the process. Sonoluminescence has intrigued scientists because it transforms sound energy into light and could offer insights into energy concentration and plasma physics. Personally, it intrigues me for a different reason. What if this is what many who see underwater UAPs are actually seeing? Could this phenomenon be behind the mysterious light people are seeing underwater? Could this mean that there are no UAPs underwater, or are the UAPs responsible for them in the ocean? I'll let you have a think about this one. While you share your thoughts on that, we have another intriguing piece of footage that is people talking about cloaked objects in the sky. Take a look. In the bright blue sky, there's this odd cloud formation. At first glance, it seems just like any other cloud, but something about it looks, well, off. Its shape is too precise, too deliberate. Some are suggesting that it's not a cloud at all, but a cloaked object, something trying to blend in with the atmosphere. It's hard to dismiss when you really look at it. Could this be a UFO using advanced cloaking technology, or is it just an unusual cloud formation? Aaron's money is on the latter. What about you? A man was out one night putting something into his car when his security camera captured something chilling. Take a look. Just there behind the car in the darkness, a large, ghostly figure appears to be moving. You can see the man noticing it too as his eyes follow the movement of the entity passing by. To confirm what he saw, the man reviewed the security footage, and there it was again. The figure, ghostly and unsettling, moves in the shadows behind the car. Now, the question he keeps asking is, what was that figure? Was it a ghost or perhaps some other sort of entity just passing by? Let's take a look at this fascinating invention from MIT. It's shape-changing furniture. This futuristic table can transform itself to serve various functions. Need a cup holder? It molds itself to hold your drink. Want to keep your pencils organized? Well, it becomes a pencil case. It can even move objects closer to you or flip cards on the table for the two men in this footage. It's undeniably an impressive feat of technology, but it also raises some questions. What happens when your table starts refusing to cooperate? Imagine deciding to hide your car keys. Well, now that's a problem. So is this the future of furniture, or is it just a little too smart for comfort? How would you feel having someone stare at you like this from across your apartment? Not something you would want to experience, right? Well, Martha, the lady who uploaded this clip, felt she was being watched and decided to look around. Lo and behold, she saw her neighbor staring into her apartment. While staring in itself was odd, unusual, and rude, that's not what unsettled her. She noticed that the lady had this unusual posture, almost as though she'd been possessed by something. This went on for so long that she had to record and ask for answers. Personally, I would have taken this as a cue to move. What say you? While you think about that, this blurry video was shared by a homeowner who was reviewing his Ring camera footage. It was a typical and usual activity for him, only this time he would find something unusual. In the footage, an odd figure or object can be seen flying by. It's hard to make out exactly what it is, but its movements don't match anything typical like a bird, plane, or drone. The object appears to zip across the screen quickly before vanishing into the distance. The homeowner insists the footage is not edited or manipulated in any way, but he admits that he has no idea what he captured. With footage this unclear, it's always tough to say for sure what we are seeing, but it raises questions about the many unexplained objects that people catch on their cameras. Some who've seen the clip speculate that it could be a UFO or some form of extraterrestrial technology, while others think it might be a strange atmospheric phenomenon. You've seen the clip as well, so what do you think this could be? Some people have extraordinary body features, but what we are looking at here seems almost unbelievable. In the footage, someone is pulling and stretching the skin on their leg like it's elastic, almost like rubber. It's hard to believe that this is even possible. However, there are skin conditions that can explain this. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS for short, is one example. It's a rare genetic disorder that affects connective tissues, making the skin super stretchy and fragile. Among other symptoms, however, the extreme elasticity in this video makes it look almost like silicone or synthetic material. Anyway, what are your thoughts on it? Back in 1994, Los Angeles experienced a massive power outage, plunging the entire city into darkness. As night fell, the local police station was bombarded with 911 calls from concerned residents, and this was the reason. The night sky above the city was illuminated by strange silver clouds. It gave the whole place an otherworldly, dull silver hue. The government quickly stepped in, claiming this phenomenon was nothing more than the Milky Way. It's normally hidden by the city's bright lights. But not everyone bought this explanation. Why would the Milky Way appear so drastically different during a blackout? Could there have been something more mysterious at play? What do you think? A woman was casually looking out of her window at her neighbor in the building across from hers. His blinds were wide open, and he was seated at his dining table eating his meal. But then something strange caught her attention. At the other end of his dining table, there was a fork floating in mid-air with a piece of pasta skewered on it. It hovered there, moving as though someone invisible was about to take a bite, but there was no one else at the table. Could this man be dining with a ghost? Perhaps the real takeaway is, don't spy on your neighbors. What say you? Moving on to UFOs, there are indeed other sources of evidence that suggest these phenomena are very real. Take, for instance, the fragments that have been recovered from alleged UFO crash landing sites. When these fragments are examined by experts, they found an unusually high percentage of magnesium. This is a material that, while present on Earth, is extremely rare in such high concentrations. What makes this even more intriguing is the speculation surrounding these materials. Some researchers believe that the unique composition of these fragments could be linked to gravity manipulation, possibly explaining how these crafts are able to move at such incredible speeds and defy known laws of physics. It's been a while, but I've got a bonus segment for you. You know, the part where you get the chance to tell me something unique about what's on your screen, and we send you a shout out at the end of the month. Yeah, that one. Do you know what this is? Can you tell if it's real or not? If it's real, can you tell me exactly what it is and one interesting fact about it? Start your response in the comments section with the word bonus, and I'll highlight the best answers at the end of the month. Good luck and all the best. A farmer and his wife shared this chilling image back in 2020 from their ranch in Oregon. One morning, they woke up to a horrifying discovery: their 2,000-pound Hereford bull laying lifeless on the ground. But that wasn't an ordinary death. The animal was, for a lack of a better term, deflated. It had been completely drained of blood, its vital organs meticulously removed along with its anus and scrotum. What's even more baffling is the precision of these extractions. There were no jagged cuts, no signs of a struggle. The cuts appeared surgical, as if made by a highly advanced instrument. Even stranger, there wasn't a single drop of blood on the ground. No insects, no scavenger birds, nothing that you'd typically see near a carcass. Despite its fresh appearance, the bull's body smelled rancid, as though it had decayed unnaturally quickly. Such an occurrence brings to mind the eerie phenomenon of alien animal mutilations. Stories of similar precision cuts, blood drainage, and inexplicable circumstances have been reported across the globe for decades, often linked to UFO sightings or extraterrestrial theories. Is this the case, or could there be more to this? If you thought that was unsettling, take a look at this one. Yes, scientists have successfully grown brain organoids, which are essentially mini brains in lab conditions using stem cells. These organoids mimic certain aspects of human brain development and neural function. The process involves stimulating stem cells to differentiate into neurons and form neural tissue in a controlled environment, often using special scaffolding and chemical cues to guide their growth. These brain organoids can be connected to computer systems, enabling researchers to study how neural networks form and function. In some experiments, organoids have generated brainwaves similar to those seen in human brains. While this sounds exciting and leaves us with questions, have they created consciousness? Can they create brains now? Especially when you combine that technology with that in the previous clip. I don't know about you, but looks like we've got a lot coming to us in the coming years. There are even talks of creating biohybrid computer systems based on this. But how do you feel about the whole thing? This image, taken in 2020 by a man hiking with his dog in Oklahoma, captures something unsettling. It is a decayed creature's head with part of its mouth gone, revealing its powerful jaws. At first glance, many might think it's the remains of a large dog, but there's something about the structure that has raised doubts. Some members of the paranormal community are convinced that this is no ordinary animal. They speculate that the head belongs to something far more mysterious, possibly a Bigfoot or the infamous Dogman. The jaws are unusually strong-looking, and the decayed appearance makes it hard to identify what the creature once was. Could this be a long-lost creature or something stranger, or is it just a misidentified animal? Speaking of misidentified animals, a bulldog owner thinks it might just be a bulldog, but then again, that's just speculation. What do you guys think? Black magic and voodoo have always been curious and controversial practices, often associated with rituals that raise many questions. When I first saw this clip, I couldn't help but wonder if it was connected to voodoo or black magic. The video starts off looking like someone preparing meat to cook. After adding spices, they placed 2 dolls in red dresses on the meat. Then they cut something else and tied the dolls together, securing them into the meat with more spices. After that, the person wraps the meat with a red rope, covers it in a red cloth, and ties it again. The meat is then placed in a cooking tray surrounded by vegetables, and here's the unsettling part. Candles are placed all around the tray on the floor. What could this mean? It feels like a ritual, but whether it's related to voodoo or something else entirely is unclear. In many cultures, red is a color linked to power, blood, or intense emotions like love and rage. And dolls, especially in voodoo, are often used symbolically. Could this be some sort of ritual for binding, protection, or harm? What do you think is the purpose behind this bizarre act? Could anyone with experience in this share them with us? What you're looking at is the incredible Thermaeum Fort, built in 1687 in Tamil Nadu, India. This historic site is perched atop a massive egg-shaped rock. For centuries, people assumed the rock was a natural formation, just a unique part of the landscape. But one fateful day, an earthquake struck the area, shaking the very foundation of this ancient landmark. When the dust settled, part of the rock had broken away, revealing something absolutely astonishing. Hidden beneath the surface was a doorway, perfectly concealed and entirely unsuspected. Even more incredible, the rock wasn't solid, it was hollow on the inside. The discovery left everyone stunned. A ladder was constructed to explore the interior of the rock, and since then, the site has attracted attention not just for its historic significance, but for this mind-boggling hidden secret. What do you think this hidden doorway could have been used for? Have you ever seen a tree float? No? Well, this is what I mean. Take a look. And yes, that did happen, at least according to the one who uploaded the clip. He was driving home one day when he looked up and saw a tree, or at least a part of it, floating through the streets. He couldn't believe his eyes, and neither could we. There are questions, though, like where is this tree coming from, where is it headed, and most important of all, how is it floating? So many questions, yet try as we may, no official answers. Can any of you help solve this mystery? Kindly let us know in the comments section. We'll be reading. A spooky meeting with the mysterious woman in the forest left the group of friends both worried and confused. On that night, as they were driving through the thick woods, they unexpectedly came across a puzzling figure on the side of the road. Intrigued but frightened, they decided to drive around and check it out, only to find her sitting on the ground, wet, with her legs spread out. Overcome with fear, the friends quickly left, going back home to make sense of the strange incident. The next day, fueled by curiosity, they returned to the spot where they encountered her. To their surprise, the area where the woman had been was wet, and as they explored the woods, they found a dugout spot in a nearby river. This unnerving encounter raises a multitude of questions. Who was the mysterious woman, and why was she there on that unforgettable night? This next footage was sent in by someone who could swear that they had seen Bigfoot. Take a look and tell me what you think. Do you see what they see? This was recorded by an individual whose time in the woods with friends and family was suddenly interrupted by a strange beast. For some odd reason, this beast was as large as a bear, but walked on its two hind legs like a human would. Some were convinced it was a bear that had managed to stay on its 2 feet much longer than other bears, while others were also convinced they were dealing with a Bigfoot. I know it's hard to see anything in the footage, but what do you also think we might be dealing with? Share your thoughts in the comment section. The mysterious case of the Russian YouTuber who conducted experiments on creating a homunculus using his DNA resurfaced in recent discussions. This content creator made a series of videos documenting his scientific journey, attempting to create small creatures using his DNA and a chicken egg. The intrigue reached its peak with about 19 episodes, after which the YouTuber mysteriously vanished, leaving the online community both shocked and captivated. Some believe that the higher-ups, possibly threatened by his unconventional experiments and discoveries, came for him, leading to his abrupt silence. On the other hand, skeptics argue that the entire episode could be the result of CGI manipulation. But if it was all CGI manipulation, why would he suddenly disappear? Wouldn't it even be easier now to keep it up with all these AIs around? Something just doesn't seem right. As the story resurfaces, however, it continues to be a topic of debate, leaving viewers to ponder the true nature of the homunculus experiment and the fate of the Russian YouTuber. Someone spotted this strange-looking bird going into the woods. It had odd-looking features, and its wings looked like they were broken. It has a long neck with disheveled feathers on it. But what stood out the most was its sheer size. This doesn't look like any bird we know of, and it has the mind dancing with possibilities. Could this be a new species, a feathered anomaly that has eluded scientific classification until now? It's hard to say, but one thing we can be sure of is the fact that our world is home to an incredible diversity of bird species, each adapted to its unique environment. Discoveries of new species, especially those exhibiting distinctive characteristics, fuel our fascination with the natural world. Keep 'em coming, Mother Nature. We love it like that. Do you believe that merfolk exist? What about Atlantis? Well, whatever your belief system, you might want to see this. I know what you're seeing can be confusing, but relax. According to the locals here, you're actually looking at a mermaid's preserved corpse. Yeah, that's right. But if Disney and all we've learned from animations are to be believed, mermaids shouldn't look this despicable and scary. Turns out, real-life depictions of mermaids have them sometimes looking like this. Scary, but this is what they might supposedly look like in real life. Well, it's hard to verify the claims of these individuals who've actually put it on display. It's interesting to see since almost everyone in the footage believes that's the real deal. If this many people went to see it, that means it's real, right? Share your thoughts. In a fascinating discovery near the Pacific Northwest, a video captured the presence of a mysterious miniature humanoid-like insect. The creature's face resembled that of an insect complete with antennae, but its body poses, well, intriguing questions. The insect appears to have 2 standing legs, broad shoulders, and an upright torso that distinguishes it from the usual appearance of insects. This unusual discovery brings up many questions, making us consider the possibility of hidden realms. Either that, or we may potentially be dealing with the discovery of a remarkable new species. What do you think? All right, buckle up for this frosty mystery. A person out for a casual stroll after a snowstorm, just minding their business, when suddenly the ground beneath their feet starts to glow. Out of curiosity, the lady starts digging to unveil the secret source of this mysterious glow. Unfortunately, the video cuts off right before they discover what it is. Talk about a cliffhanger. Could it be a cluster of bioluminescent organisms like nature's very own fairy lights, or perhaps a hidden treasure chest of glow-in-the-dark snowflakes gifted by Jack Frost himself? We'll never know. A curious tourist visiting the storied Nile River was met with a mesmerizing yet unsettling sight. The once clear waters had transformed into a deep shade of crimson reminiscent of the biblical accounts of the river turning red. While the historical connotations may evoke a sense of foreboding, the reality behind this spectacle in 2016 can be traced to a natural phenomenon known as red bloom algae. In 2022, the scientific understanding of the occurrence sheds light on the mysterious transformation. Red bloom algae, also referred to as algal blooms, are caused by an overgrowth of certain types of algae in water bodies. These algae contain pigments that can impart a reddish hue to the water, giving rise to a striking visual effect. So don't worry, this is not a plague. Or is it? Have you ever seen snakes tango? Well, if you haven't, this is the closest you may get. I know what you're seeing is very strange and disturbing, but believe me when I tell you it's not as charming as it looks. These snakes are each trying to have each other's heads, literally. They keep going at it until one was smacked on the head so strong that it hit the rocks and ended up stunned. After a few seconds, it recovers and slithers away in shame. Talk about the slither of shame. Whatever you do, don't ever go near these kinds of snakes if you ever stumble on them doing this. A bite from these could land you in hospital or worse. Yes, it's mesmerizing, but stay away from them as much as possible. What do you think is happening in this footage? If you look closely, you'll notice there's this strange being behind the woman looking at her. It's believed to have been stalking her. But why? The truth is, no one really knows. The woman seems to notice the being as well, as her facial expression changed whilst recording the video. Some who know the location believe it was built on cursed land, but then again, that's something we can't verify. What do you think the being stalking her is? We have a lot of theories, but not a definitive answer, so we'd love to hear yours. Also, do you think they might really be in a cursed land? Think about it and let us know in the comments section. Next, we have mysterious green sludge oozing out of New York City's manholes. You can't make this stuff up. But hold on to your proton packs, because it turns out it's not some otherworldly ectoplasm or alien goo, it's just a bit of movie magic happening in real life. According to the provided information, constructors were testing sprinklers and utilized green foam during the process. This foam left a green stuff that was mistaken for a mysterious substance. Some even thought TMNT had come to town. We can't just get the stuff we want. If you haven't already hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment so far, could you please do so now? It goes a long way to help us make more of these kinds of videos for you. Thank you so much. Now back to today's episode. In a crowd of people who were all fixated on what looks like a musical performance, something looks odd. There behind the girls is this strange-looking person. This person has a pale and hairless head, but before you tell me it's human, look at its eyes. There are no eyeballs, just dark hollows in the head. The rest of its body is hidden behind the girl in front. But what is this? An alien, or perhaps a wandering spirit drawn to the irresistible beats of human music? Or perhaps it's just an avant-garde fashion statement, and we're witnessing the birth of a new trend in intergalactic couture. If you found that shocking, then perhaps this next one might blow your mind. Yep, that's a man walking on water. I would have thought it was a prank if the one recording wasn't sitting in a boat. Clearly, this is the middle of the ocean, which leaves me with one question. How? But I guess that's a question I should be comfortable with not getting an answer to. What say you? Next, let's jump into the wild and peculiar world of mysterious events. Here we have a cloud. Yes, a cloud just casually rolling along a metal pavement at the side of the road. I mean, what in the world is happening with that cloud? Did it decide it had enough of the sky and wanted to go on a road trip? Perhaps it's the latest mode of transportation for clouds. Move over airplanes, here comes the rolling cloud express. But joking aside, clouds are supposed to float high in the sky, not roll around like tumbleweeds. Maybe this cloud had a long day and needed a break. Can clouds even get tired? I didn't think they had legs, let alone the ability to roll on the ground. On a more serious note, though, this might just be some clever camera work or CGI trickery. Mother Nature can be pretty unpredictable, but clouds going on a road joyride might be stretching it. Whatever it is, it certainly grabbed our attention. All around the world, these spiral patterns can be found in communities designed and built in that shape. They've sparked various conspiracy theories, with some suggesting that they're generating energy or causing some unexplained phenomena. However, the reality appears much more down to earth. One such example is a community that follows the spiral grid pattern. Contrary to conspiracies, the purpose of this design is not to generate energy or induce any mystical effects. Instead, it's a practical and well-thought-out layout aimed at providing residents with certain amenities and features. In these communities, each house is strategically positioned around a central park, creating a spiral pattern. Behind every house, there are golf courses, adding to the aesthetic appeal and recreational opportunities for the residents. The central park serves as a communal space for various activities and gatherings. In recent times, a curious phenomenon has been capturing the attention of people worldwide: mysterious blue beam projections. It raises questions about whether humanity has achieved a level of technological mastery, allowing us to manipulate light in unprecedented ways. In the present footage, a peculiar beam of light descends from the sky onto the Earth, revealing a glowing entity within it. The phenomenon has roots in conspiracy theories and has long been associated with the idea of a simulated reality or extraterrestrial manipulation. Proponents of the blue beam conspiracy suggest that powerful entities, whether governmental or otherwise, possess the capability to project holographic images onto the sky for various purposes, often linked to control and manipulation. While skepticism surrounds such claims, the persistence and recurrence of these sightings have led to increased curiosity and debate. Could what we are seeing here indeed be a blue beam projection, or is there a better explanation for it? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Have you ever had one of those days where you were walking and then all of a sudden some invisible force out of nowhere pulls you to the ground? Well, me neither. For the man in this footage, however, it looks like that's exactly what happened. He was going about his business like he would and should on an ordinary day when some sort of invisible being or force pulled him down. I analyzed his shadow to see if perhaps it was a camera trick with others pulling him, but found nothing. Could this be the real deal? If it is, why would he be the target of an invisible being or ghost? Or did he take the person's job? It's hard to say, but share your thoughts in the comments section.
If you have been to a stadium, then you know that this is definitely not how running through a crowd works, yet that's exactly what the uploader of the footage says we're dealing with here. Looking at the footage, it sounds almost believable. After all, we see a figure, or possibly a person, moving at such a high speed until he gets to what should have been a stop. But somehow, he miraculously jumps to the other side. When I watched this, I believe it was one of two things. It was either a glitch in the Matrix or CGI. I wanted to believe it was a glitch in the Matrix till my little assistant mentioned it could be the shadow of the overhead camera. That just killed all the hypotheses I had prepared. But what do you think? Glitch, CGI, or the shadow of the camera? Caught on a security camera at a job site, a man vanished into thin air as a bus drove by. One possible explanation involves glitches or anomalies in the camera equipment, creating an illusion of the man disappearing. However, if the footage is genuine and unfiltered, it opens the door to more enigmatic possibilities. Paranormal enthusiasts consider the notion of supernatural occurrences, suggesting the man could be a ghost visiting our plane. Some also state that it could be a mere man somehow manipulating reality. Skeptics, on the other hand, lean toward the idea of the whole thing being an elaborate hoax, with the footage carefully crafted for attention or amusement. Having seen it with your own eyes, which of these possibilities do you think is most likely? Share it with us in the comments section. Just a quick reminder before the next clip comes, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed, could you do so right now? You wouldn't want me to send a snake the size of the one in the next clip after you now, would you?
This looks very odd. What we're looking at here is a slit in the sky, a perfectly visible, neat opening, but what could have caused this? Most members of the paranormal community believe it looks like some kind of doorway slightly opened, perhaps a portal into another dimension. If you look closely, you can even see faint lights glowing from within the slit, almost like something is on the other side. Call me crazy, but I wish I knew where and when this happened so I could have been a part of it. And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Oh yeah, before you go, there are clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't. Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have.
Share this with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.